I am Mark Torres of the Sukiyaki Media with my compatriots Caleb McCleese and Stefan Dindyal.
You.
Hey,
And we're here to talk about our interests in the E3 conference. So, starting with Caleb McCleese.
Well, honestly, overall, the E3 conference, I'd say, entertained for the most part. I mean, there were some parts of the conference I had to actually look at twice online, especially with IGN, between IGN and the No, especially between Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. To me, the overall conference, Sony pretty much impressed me a lot. I mean, besides the little tidbits about cross network play and still no backwards compatibility, I think Sony did a decent presentation with gameplay demos and showing, videos such as The Last of Us and Death Stranding, which impressed me very much. I'm excited for Death Stranding. Microsoft, though, I felt they did put effort into their E3 presentation, but not enough. I mean, Phil Spencer, I mean, I give the guy credit. He kind of felt like, he was unsure of himself on stage. And seeing the prospect of different companies that will be working under Microsoft to create future games for the Xbox does give me hope for this system because honestly, like, most, I would say majority of gamers, I'm not sure how many people are into Xbox or compare the numbers, but a lot of people have lost their faith in Xbox. But seeing this presentation has renewed some faith in their original content, future original content with the companies they just signed on to. The company I'm most interested in seeing is Ninja Theory. But to the point, Xbox, to me, it feels like they just, they just showed off trailers and not enough gameplay demos to convince me that, they're 100%. To me, they have the potential, but they got to prove it to me. Now, Nintendo, that panel impressed me a lot too, and it makes me actually want to get a Switch now, especially Super Smash Brothers. Put one of my worst bosses I played as a kid, and I still have, still have bad memories going up against Ridley. But overall, the conference, I was entertained. I just think Sony nailed it, especially with the Last of Us presentation. They actually showed us a gameplay demo this time, not just a video or a cutscene. So that's just my opinion.
Alright, so it's my turn then. Yes, so my interest in E3 was actually a lot more limited than Caleb McCleese. Most of that got my attention was obviously the Devil May Cry 5. Oh my goodness, I literally felt I was a little bit trolled thinking it was a DMC too. And also, as Caleb mentioned, the Nintendo Switch, which is the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, 64 characters if I'm not correct. I'm not sure about that.
Just about.
All I know is that everybody from the beginning, Melee, Brawl, and Brothers, like they're all coming back. So that's kind of like a all-star smash up dream come true for me. And also Cyberpunk 2077, that blew my mind away. There are a few others in my mind, but not at the forefront of it. So Devil May Cry 5, Cyberpunk 2077, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate have definitely caught my heart. So, what about you, Steph?
oh well, I didn't see much of E3. Like, I didn't watch each of the conferences coverage, so most of my insight to any of the games have been through like the videos that were posted almost immediately on Facebook. I thought that was kind of impressive that as soon as either Tank or Mark texted me about something, I just saw the post right on Facebook. One of the first ones I saw was actually from the Microsoft conference when they showed Devil May Cry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting because that's gonna be multi-platform, but they got the exclusive to show off the trailer. And I feel like without that, they didn't really have much else to show.
I agree on that. I mean, to me, they just showed third-party trailers. I mean, to me, I give them credit for that at least. I mean, I'd say the only thing that kind of almost got me, they almost got me, was with Gears of War. It was Gears of War. They almost got me. You know, you even heard it in the audience. They were like, sound like they were started to get angry, and then we get the announcement after the standalone. It was really good. I mean, the presentation Gears of War 5 was pretty interesting, but
I mean, the game looks pretty good.
yeah,
All the games look good. I mean,
Yeah.
we're at the point now where
And
the
I
games
like-
are just gonna look good.
yeah.
And they're gonna run at 60 FPS. And
But you know, we just
No
have to
big
wait
deal.
and see. Pretty much, that's all we gotta do.
So, speaking of games, which ones are most interesting to you guys? I mean, I already mentioned mine.
From the major platforms, to me, for Microsoft, I mean, Gears of War 5 for me, because I've been a Gears of War fan for a while. I actually did like the story of Gears of War 4 and where it's going, and it's very interesting to see that, you know, from what we've seen so far, there will be a female lead in this story. It would be the first female lead in the Gears of War franchise ever. I mean, you were able to play as Sam and Anya in Gears of War 3, but you were never able to play, you know, from a story standpoint. And then for Sony, that was a hard one. I mean, I would say the Last of Us 2, because that story really gave me some inspiration, especially the fact that you can literally make a film out of a video game. Yes. And Death Stranding, of course, because Hideo Kojima, I just want to see what he can do outside of, you know, the Metal Gear franchise that he's been a part of for over 20 years.
That is definitely what I'm looking forward to as well.
Indeed. I mean, the trailer gave us more questions and answers once again, but I look forward to see what else, you know, Kojima-san has in store for us. And for Nintendo, I tend to give it because of Smash Brothers, and also Bayonetta. I have to say Bayonetta. I can't knock it. Bayonetta is a guilty pleasure of mine, because I mean, there's still hints of Bayonetta 3 coming out. And one other game that kind of stood out, but Microsoft presented it, you know, exclusively, was Sekiro, right?
Oh,
Shadows Die Twice.
Yes.
I mean,
I
everybody
forgot about
assumed that it was a Bloodborne sequel, but to me, you know, this is from Software, and I'm pretty sure they'll do a good job, because they got the Soul series, Bloodborne, and this one doesn't seem to be a console exclusive. It seems like it will come out of every console, and
Yeah.
I really look
I
forward
think
to
the
see.
full presentation of the name was Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that subtitle was like what the original teaser trailer was showing off.
Yes.
And also the, what was it, the prosthetic hand that was being on
Yeah.
the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, thinking about it, we did talk about how similar it felt with the Bionic Commando.
It did, especially with the grappling hook arm. I just like the fact that I saw they did a closer look, especially on the PlayStation channel on YouTube, on what kind of weapons you can use. And there was a YouTuber that was known, I think his name is, I can't say his name. He's known for...
VaatiVidya?
Yeah, he did a video for Sekiro recently, and he explained it very well. We can link it.
I don't know, it was weird watching this E3 because a lot of games feel the same.
Yeah.
Like even looking at Microsoft, you have, you know, Shadows Die Twice. The guy has a mechanical arm.
Mm-hmm.
Devil May Cry features a mechanical arm. And their graphics engines are very similar. It's like... And then even if you look at Gears of War, the story for that feels like Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
There was a lot of overlap with gameplay mechanics, visuals, and story pacing based on the trailers that they showed. Like, there wasn't really that many standouts. I mean, even if you look at I feel like most of the standouts would be like, I guess, Death Stranding, because that was just like really weird and strange.
Yeah.
There wasn't like any action gameplay. It was just like walking around.
And then
More
like
experience
then
driven.
like speaking of Sony, I would say a couple of games also highlighted me, because speaking of the samurai-esque, Ghost of Tsushima was interesting to look at. I mean, it was a gameplay demo. It was interesting to see Sucker Punch was doing something a lot different than usual. But I like the fact that studios take the risk to break outside the norm or what they're known for.
But like even that game, the thing that I'm kind of skeptical about, but I do have hope that it'll be good. I mean, it looks like they're going the For Honor route. And, when you're trying to do realistic combat.
Mm-hmm.
And that was definitely a story mission that they showed. For Honor kind of failed with the realistic combat.
Yeah.
PvP-wise.
And then they, also they brought up freaking, Microsoft said it, right? Neo 2. And people are already comparing 3 Samurai games that are going to come out next year. And to me, I just like the fact, because I've always been into the whole samurai, the whole samurai aesthetic. And it'll be interesting to see 3 different takes. Neo I still haven't beaten, but it's very hard.
But I can see it getting kind of muddy, though, because it's like, what if they all come out in relatively the same time? It's like, well, which samurai game are you going to play? Probably, the Dark Souls guys are going to go with the From Software one.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine owning all of them day one. Like, you're probably going to buy one and pick and choose.
That's true. Speaking of buying, what do you think about Microsoft acquiring the indie studios and talking about the initiative to press forward? Do you believe it? I recently stated that, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, Phil Spencer didn't feel very wholehearted, but, he'd be telling the truth.
I mean, Microsoft, like, the big complaint with the industry is Microsoft seems to they want to handhold a lot with their third parties. And, whereas Sony, whenever they pick someone up, they'll let them go. And they'll let them run and do whatever they want, hoping that the end product will be pretty decent. They might handhold if something is going, like, awry, but for the most part, Microsoft's always, like, overlording on their third parties.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that, I'm definitely hoping that Ninja Theory does do okay with Microsoft for the next project.
Yeah, so another 2 games that I just remembered. The second of the prequel trilogy of Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and also the Marvel Spider-Man game that they have.
Yes.
So, when I saw that trailer and a little bit of the gameplay, the first thing that came to my mind, I'm sure you and I both said at the same time, it was the Sinister Six that they're going to be going.
Yeah, it felt very Arkham-ish. Did you notice that the gameplay really did feel like Arkham?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I'm about to say Batman. Spider-Man doing all the reaction stuff like Batman does against all the people, front, back, left, and right.
Mm-hmm.
But then sliding around, doing all the web slinging stuff, which there was like a lot of quick time action stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the game looks really fun.
It does.
I feel like a lot of people that I've seen or I have friends on Facebook, they've all like latched onto the things that look really fun and kind of skimmed over. Like a lot of the third-party indie games, I haven't seen all of them, but most of them are getting decent press.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least they look super original and fresh.
That's why I was impressed. That's why I said I hope Ninja Theory does well, because that game they did, Hellblade, was only made by 20 people. I was like, wait a minute, 20 people only made this game?
Yeah.
And now they say they got 100 people now. I saw a recent interview. They say they got 100 people work on the new project. So if they did Hellblade with 20 people, imagine what they're doing with their new team.
Yeah, and like even to that point, that's like where you're going. People are probably playing it feels like they're playing games more now for an experience rather than for like the gameplay. Like you said, a movie that's a game.
Definitely.
Or a game that's a movie.
Maybe we should talk about. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not like tons of new gameplay mechanics, and like Mark mentioned, particularly quick time events. There's a lot more of that. I mean, a lot of The Last of Us is just that. Mm-hmm. You are just playing the game for the story. Because I mean, how many gore takedowns can you have?
Yeah, we should talk about technically the games or just things we're not interested in. I'll just say this, man. The EA press conference, I don't know why I watched it, but I'd say my curiosity for Anthem is what made me want to watch it. Honestly, everybody that was in the EA panel, it felt like they were lying. I mean, honestly, I can tell people when they're lying or when they show no empathy, and it was like that. And I mean, besides the whole EA conference, I ain't interested in any of their games. Microsoft, I would say Halo Infinite. I have no hope for it really. I'm gonna wait for the reviews on that. I'm not gonna get suckered like I did with Halo 5.
I didn't look too much into Infinite, but is that supposed to be Halo 6 or this is a different
Uh,
IP, like a branch?
I don't have a clue from what I'm thinking. They decided to take out the 6 and just say Infinite because they're tired of adding numbers.
Well, then to that extent, that means that the Halo storyline is not going to be finished.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mark?
It's a bit of, at least my thought process is leaning toward both of it, that it is Halo 6, because it happens after Halo 5, but there's a chance that it's not Master Chief who's the leading Spartan there. Some people are theorizing that it might be a female Spartan, but considering that the list of the original Spartans are kind of low, it's a small list of suspects, but they could also make a whole brand new character and viewing it from their point of view.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, they showed Master Chief, so.
Although, the one thing I am looking forward to, which I'll have to wait until next year, January, for Devil May Cry.
Well, do you have any games you're not interested in? Because I already said EA, forget it. Not even Anthem. I mean, even though I saw Casey Hudson up in that panel, it didn't feel like he was into it.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't that many games shown this year, so there's only a few to really be interested in. Everything else kind of falls to the wayside. So I'm probably mostly looking at Death Stranding. I want to deliver corpses to whoever wants corpses.
Yeah. It's currently inspiring my latest art trend.
Yeah, Death Stranding is definitely going to be one of those games that people are going to jump in. They don't know what they're doing, but they're going to enjoy it one way or another. And they did say that you can play the game however you want, but there's like a different way to solve each problem, so, or various way to solve a problem. That's how they said it. So
I did really like the horror sequence that they showed at the end, where you gotta like sneak through all the things. That was really like, that had like a real Aliens vibe to it. I love stuff like that where the tension is high, and it doesn't look like you could really fight those things. So it's really about just the sneaking gameplay. So
yeah,
that looked really interesting.
It gave me an Alien Isolation game feeling. So we already mentioned all our games are interested and covered much as we knew or know about the E3 conference. So I'm Mark Torres.
Caleb McCleese.
Stefan.
And we're the Sukiyaki Media. So we're giving our thoughts on E3 conference. So thank you, and we will tune in again.